G'day guys, Mark here, and it's with a very heavy heart I welcome you to the last episode of the Iron Empire for 2022. Okay guys, so here we are. It is the end of 2022 and another year has flown by, as they always seem to do. Now, I did start doing a elaborate compilation of all the cars that you guys may have seen throughout the year, and I put it together with music, how I do, and unfortunately I had a copyright issue with the music and it all just fell apart after a few hours of editing. I was pretty gutted. So I'm sulking in the car right now, and all we're going to do is have a look at my channel, and we're going to take a look at all the cars and all the episodes that you guys may have watched over the year. Now I'm going to try and do this the best I can without any stuff ups, and so I don't have to edit too much, because editing is a drag. And I hope you guys appreciate these videos, because it takes some serious hours. I'm talking like probably 10 hours a week in editing. Not to mention working on the cars, just editing. All right, anyway, I'm not ranting. Okay, so the end of last year, I actually took a few weeks off. We went away to Kangaroo Island, and we sort of just enjoyed the summer break, really. And it actually hurt the channel quite a lot. It took a long time for the views start to build up again. So from that moment onwards, I decided that I wasn't going to miss a single week. And up until now, I haven't, I don't think. Okay, so starting off, the very first video of the year was me advertising a coffee and cars event that Charlie and I put on down at Woodville. It was our first coffee and cars, but it was a third event in total. This coffee and cars was awesome. The street was absolutely packed. We had food van down there, we had coffee van down there. We ended up having about 300 to 400 cars. Adelaide scene is absolutely pumping, and it was really good. We actually have been slack, and I don't think we've done another one. We didn't do another one all year. Apologies for that. This year it will be different. The next video after that was actually looking back at 2021, so I was a little bit late to the party on that one. Okay, so we're already a month into the year, and the first video is episode 81, the nicest UC Torana in town. It's basically updates on Andrea's UC Torana. You guys have seen on the channel a bunch of times that this build has been documented pretty thoroughly, I'd like to say, from a car that we painted last year, paint and panel down at Jake's shop, all the way through to a running driving car that it is right now. So there's plenty to see on that car on the channel. So if you haven't seen that, if you haven't seen all the videos, if you are a new subscriber, definitely go back and check out the progress on the UC Torana. The next video after that, we basically was a recap on our coffee and cars event. So once again, it was a huge event, really pumped with the outcome and the support we had locally. So if you haven't seen that, or if you haven't been to any of our events, if we put anything on this year, be sure to come if you're a local. American Muscle. Next up, we had the Dodge Dart. We introduced the Dodge Dart to the channel, 318 small block Chrysler. It's an automatic. It's a 71-ish, I can't remember the model. It's a patina car. Absolutely sick car. Andrea and I have fallen in love with this thing, even though it took us through hell and back in a later episode. I've done a few little other videos, nothing too exciting there. Unfortunately, it was a celebration of life for our friend Andy. Bit of a video on Andy and the cars that he built over his journey. Next up, the Dodge Dart again. We took this thing to the Mopar Powered Nationals at Heathcote, and 1,400 kilometers there and back, and it was an absolute nightmare of a drive, but the car made it. Definitely well worth watching if you haven't seen that episode 84. Next up, episode 85, we had the UC Torana. This was its first drive? Nope. Put the motor in the car. We swapped the motor. We took the motor out of a little KE Corolla and put it in this Torana 253. After that, we done some paint repairs on Andrea's sister's car, Amy. We resprayed that in Caribbean turquoise, the little UC Torana. And we later got that together for a wedding, which was seen in a later episode with Andrea's Torana, 2 UCs. After that, I started doing I got the shits that I spent so much time painting someone else's car, and I thought I need to do something for myself. So I started the paint panel on my own LTD. This car was purchased last year to basically replace my first car, which was an FC LTD Cartier 351 car. Ended up buying this. It's a 6-cylinder car. It's an FD, and ended up respraying that in Sovereign. But this video was the beginning of that car. So paint repairs, panel repairs, I should say, rust repairs, and the likes of. After that, we had a little bit more Torana stuff. After this, we had episode 88, the Minty Fresh Survivor XC Falcon. This thing was a hit on the channel. It was a local car, 302 Cleveland. It was a factory automatic power steering Falcon. Yeah, really cool Falcon. We basically done all the mechanical sort of stuff you do on any car that's been sitting for 15 plus years. Done a nice set of wheels, lowered it, but left it sort of patina. Awesome car. After that, we took a look at Tough Mounts and the Beta build, which has now been sold. Tough Mounts is a local fabrication business that does engine mounts and trans mounts and conversion kits and all sorts of stuff. Jason and the team down there do awesome work, and really pumped that that's an Adelaide company selling products worldwide. We took a look at their workshop. After that, we took the Dart down to the Mopar Nationals in Adelaide. Not the Mopar Nationals, the All Chrysler Day in Adelaide. That was a really cool event. We then went to Malala, and the historic racing down there at Malala was a really cool event as well. After this, we introduced to the channel another XC, a Fairmont, that Charlie and I decided that we were going to build into a street strip car with a 460 big block in it, and we started doing a lot of work towards that car. Towards the end of the year, life got very chaotic. Footy season started ramping up to finals. Obviously, that taking a lot of Charlie's time. I had a lot of stuff on the go as well. That project has been shelved, and that's something that we might get stuck back into this year. But at the moment, that's just on the shelf for now. After that, we Andrea bought an XB Falcon at the auctions. Apparently, it didn't run. Needs a trailer. Needs to be towed away. That wasn't the case at all. We threw some fresh fuel in it and a battery, and I drove that thing home. It was a really cool car, and I was gonna do a bunch on it, and I didn't. I ended up selling it, make a bit of money on that one. So that was a cool little project. That is episode 91. After that, it was a little bit more paint on the LTD, getting much closer to complete. After this, we introduced the WB Wannabe Sandman. WB Holden Ute I got in a deal with a Statesman I sold last year, and we got stuck into getting the paint panel done on that, and we're going to turn that into an earlier model, like a HJ era Sandman. After this, done a bit of work on the Thunderbird. That was on the channel briefly. Also, we had a look at a couple other Falcons that sort of come through the channel very briefly as well. An XE panel van, and also an XY Falcon. I also done a very brief video on the, what the fuck's that? The Fox Body Mustang, supercharged 5-litre Windsor 5-speed Mustang that I bought. It never really made it to the channel. I sort of on-sold it, and it was a cool car while I had it, but I sort of had some plans on what I wanted to do with that car, but it didn't really eventuate. I ended up selling it, and yeah, that's the end of that one. Now, getting halfway through the year, we done a bit of backstage, behind the scenes footage down at Charlie's workshop, Chuck's garage. Go check out Charlie Dixon on the Iron Empire. Yeah, you can see him on the Iron Empire, also on YouTube. Check out Charlie's channel. He does a lot of interviews with car guys, and shows off people's vehicles, and we done a bit of a behind the scenes sort of episode on that, where there was a F-150 American Raptor, and also the Bergerman brothers, generally very cool Dodge Charger. After this, episode 98, the Plymouth Duster comes over from the States. Done a bit of a road trip over there to deal with a import that was a nightmare and eventually got to Adelaide. And yeah, a bit of an eye-opener on that one. So if you haven't seen that episode 98 on what's involved in bringing a car from America, also the episode after that speaks about all the ins and outs of an import and why I think importing is probably not a thing anymore. Episode 99, we had the Barn Fresh XY Falcon Ute. We fired this thing up. It was just a simple one-off episode of a Ute that we had briefly on the channel, and we done a first fire up of a car that had been sitting for many years, and yeah, give it a good clean out and drove it around the car park, and it was a good fun little episode. That car has now been sold to the Tow King, Dan, who does all my tows, and it's currently up for auction through Grays online. So if you did watch that video, episode 99, you'll see what the car looked like, and then Dan done a bit of a number on it, and it's now up for auction, so go check that out at Grays. All right, episode 100 came in about 4 months ago, and that was on my LTD. Pretty fitting video for a car that I plan on keeping. The LTD, we got a little bit more paint and panel done on that thing, and yeah, got it one step closer to hitting the streets, and that is episode 100. After that, the VG made its return to the Iron Empire. Unfortunately, it was short-lived, as I think I may have chewed some cam bearings, had some noises coming from the engine that I didn't like, and I parked in the backyard, and I have not touched it since. After this, we took a look at some wheels that I have, a range of wheels for sale. There still is a few sets available if anyone's after, some Bathurst Globes, some Magnum 500s, some replica Centerline Convo Pros, and also Centerline Auto Drags. Also, there are GDS wheels for the GDS Holden Monaro, and also there is Sprintmaster Torana wheels. After this, 4 months ago, we introduced a second channel. This one is called More Than a House. I run this channel with Andrea, and together we are documenting the build of an Airbnb up in the Riverland, and yeah, basically all the work that's gone into renovating that, all to be flooded out. Unfortunately, the South Australian floods, well, the actual floods up further in the country, have made their way down to SA, and unfortunately are making their way through our little shack that we spent probably 3 to 4 months renovating. So if you haven't subscribed to that channel, please go and check out More Than a House. You'll see a heap more DIY stuff. This stuff is obviously more renovation sort of content rather than car stuff. So anyway, after that, we had Andrea's AU Fairlane that she done some paint repairs. I taught her a little bit about paint and panel, and we done some repairs on that car. They come up pretty cool. I also introduced the Ford Cortina to the channel, got that fired up for the first time. Took that driving out the paddock and chewed up the diff. I thought it was the gearbox or the clutch or something, but unfortunately it's the diff. Well, actually better outcome. The diff is a lot cheaper to fix. That's actually fixed and running again, and it actually is going to be up for sale very soon. So if anyone's in the market for a TE Cortina, drop me an email, mark@theironempire.com.au. Any cars that are on the channel, for that matter. If anyone's interested in any of the cars, everything's for sale at the right price, except for the UC Torana. And yeah, we can talk. After that, we done a little bit more on the Torana, we did a little bit more on the Sandman. We done a little bit on Jake's F-Truck, which is my old Dentside F-Truck. Got that thing back on the road. It's had a bit of a freshen up in the engine department. It's also had a clear coat. It's had some rust repairs done, new interior. It's come up really, really nice. So go back and check out episode 107 and 108 if you want to see the updates on the Dentside F-Truck. 2 months ago, we looked at Jake's Summernats VL build with an LS. I've actually been a little bit busy to revisit that build. I was meant to go down there and help Jake, and I will be doing so. We'll be doing a bit of an update before Summernats coming up, but yeah, Jake decided to do a pretty extensive sort of pro street build on this VL, and that is 2 months ago on the channel. So, go back and check that out. And also that is being documented through MCSA. The boys down there have been doing regular filming on Jake's build, and you can see all the updates on their channel as well, so go check those boys out as well. Only 1 month ago, we looked at the Junkyard Rescue F-150. This is an American F-150 Ranger. It's an extra cab or a super cab, whatever they call them. It's got a 400M big/small block in it, and we fired that up for the first time as well. That thing is going to be making its way onto the channel again this year. Really excited to get that thing on the road. But as for now, it's just a one-off episode of getting the thing running. At least it runs and drives. Down there at Lonsdale at Mark F100 Spares. We'll be going back down to his workshop, hopefully early in the year, to get a little bit more done on that F-150. We also took a look through the my shed, the dream shed, the dream build that I have built my workshop up there in the hills. So if you want to see how I've done my whole workshop, even though it's a work in progress, you can go check that out. Only 1 month ago on the channel. We've done a little bit more on the UC Torana. Raceworks from Melbourne invited us down to the Adelaide Auto Expo to put the Torana on display with those guys. It was a really great event. We took plenty of footage on getting that car prepared for the event and its first indoor car show. And then the video after that, we took a look at the car show and also introduced you to the XF that I'm sitting in right now, in which we won at the barn find auction. So that was a pretty cool little video and a pretty cool event as well. After that, we done some more shed additions where I built a 4-post tough lift hoist. Super pumped on the addition to the shed. That thing has been so handy. I've already been doing a heap of work on that as well. So that video was only 3 weeks ago. After that, Andrea's beloved AU Fairlane Daily, she got stuck in some stormwater and buried that thing to the hubs, and unfortunately it took in some water, and since then we've pulled the motor out and begun repairing the engine, which hydrolocked. So that's fun. Now, only 2 weeks ago, we introduced you to the NC Fairlane, Andrea's daily replacement that she bought online for $1,500. It's a 5-litre Fairlane on gas. We lowered it. We put a set of late model wheels on it and just cleaned it up, and it is awesome. She's been loving that. That's been her fill-in car until her AU's back on the road, and that has been a very successful video. A lot of people jumped on and brought a lot of new viewers to the channel. So if you're a new subscriber, welcome to the channel. Sorry this video has got a lot of talking, but thanks for jumping on and supporting the channel. Only last week we done the first video, basically, well, sort of the second-ish, on this XF, where we done some upgrades, done some mechanical repairs, threw a set of wheels on it, just sort of a bit of cosmetic stuff as well, and I got myself a cool little sort of weekender. We've got a little bit more to do on the car, but as for now, it's just another one to add to the fleet. So that is a wrap on the Iron Empire for 2022. Thanks for sticking with me throughout the year, guys. The support has been amazing. Anyone who has liked, comment, subscribed, anyone who has purchased, come up and said g'day at a local car show, all the support has been amazing. You guys have been great support to Andrea and I on both the Iron Empire and More Than a House channel. So once again, thanks for everyone's support over the year, and I will see you bigger and better in 2023. Cheers, guys.